The night before everything fell apart, I was standing in front of the mirror wearing the emerald necklace Mark gave me on our 10th anniversary. It was one of the few things he ever picked out himself. Not my mother's hand-me-downs, not something I chose and he just paid for. He said it reminded him of my eyes. He said it meant forever. He said a lot of things. I didn't know it would be gone the next morning, or that it had been gone long before I even noticed. My name is Rachel. I'm 38, a mother, a wife, and, as I learned over the course of one gut-wrenching week, a fool. Mark and I had been married 15 years. We weren't perfect, but we had routines, inside jokes, Sunday pancakes with our daughter Emma. We had memories stitched into the walls of our house, and I truly believed that was enough. Until it wasn't. It started with something small. I opened my jewelry box one morning to get the necklace. It wasn't there. Now I'm forgetful, I'll admit that. I've left milk in the pantry and my phone in the fridge. But that necklace had a special place. Always tucked neatly under the silk lining next to my grandmother's bracelet and the gold studs I wore to Emma's christening. I searched everywhere. Bedroom drawers, bathroom cabinet, even under the bed. Then I asked Mark. He was reading the paper like always, sipping coffee like it was any other day. "Hey, have you seen my emerald necklace? The one you got me?" He didn't even lower the paper. "Didn't you wear it last week? Maybe check your gym bag?" I don't take emeralds to Pilates, and something about the way he didn't look up made my skin crawl. Later that night I looked again, and again. And then I noticed something else missing. My sapphire ring, the one Dad gave me before he passed, the one I wore when I needed to feel strong. Gone. Just like that. That's when my stomach dropped. This wasn't forgetfulness. This was something else. The next day I took a break from work and drove straight to Golden Legacy, the little antique jewelry shop downtown. I had this wild, sinking feeling I couldn't explain, like if I didn't check, I'd regret it. I showed the owner a photo from our anniversary dinner, me in a black dress, the necklace glowing under candlelight. "Have you seen this?" I asked. My hands were shaking. He squinted, then nodded slowly. "Yeah, came in last Thursday. Guy said it was an anniversary gift he needed to part with." He turned to his desk, pulled out a sales slip. The name on the form. Mark Caldwell. I don't remember walking out. I don't remember getting back in the car. I just remember sitting there in the parking lot staring at that name, while everything inside me cracked like ice under pressure. He sold it. He sold the necklace he gave me, the one that was supposed to mean forever, and the ring. And maybe more. But why? That night I didn't confront him, not yet. I needed answers. And my gut told me there was more he was hiding. So I waited, and I watched. The next morning I told Mark I had a headache and skipped work. He didn't ask questions, just nodded and went back to tapping away on his phone. I watched him from the hallway. His face lit up with that smile I hadn't seen in years. Not when he looked at me, anyway. He was texting someone. I leaned closer, silent. I couldn't see the name, but I saw the heart emoji and the word Cancun. My stomach flipped. We hadn't been on vacation in 3 years, not even a weekend trip. Every time I asked, he'd say money was tight. I believed him. But apparently it wasn't too tight for her. That night after he fell asleep, I opened his laptop. It was a long shot, but Mark wasn't exactly a tech genius. He used the same password for everything. Sure enough, I was in. I opened his email, his travel folder, and there it was. Flight confirmation, 2 passengers, Cancun, all-inclusive resort, dates, last week. While I was home working late, juggling Emma's science project and cooking dinner alone, he was sipping cocktails on the beach, with her. I stared at the screen for what felt like hours. Then I opened the photos folder. He hadn't deleted them, a woman, blonde, smiling, sitting on his lap wearing my sunglasses. In one photo, she held up a champagne glass. On her wrist was my sapphire bracelet, the one I hadn't even realized was missing. I broke, not cried, not screamed, I broke. In silence, on the bathroom floor, clutching the laptop to my chest like it could explain why he did this to us, why he did this to me. I didn't sleep that night. I watched him, snoring softly, peaceful, while my world was crumbling in slow motion. And still, I didn't say a word. Not yet, because I needed to know everything. The next day, I called in sick again. Then I called our bank. I told them I wanted to review recent transactions on our joint savings account. The woman on the phone hesitated. "I'm sorry, ma'am. The account was closed last month." Closed? She said there was a full withdrawal, $27,000. I couldn't breathe. That was Emma's education fund, the savings we'd built together for emergencies, for the future, for trust. Gone. I didn't even need to ask where it went. Later that afternoon, while Mark was out, probably meeting her, I opened his closet. Inside, buried under his suits, was a shoebox. Inside the box, receipts, spa packages, flights, jewelry he bought for her. With my money, my jewelry sold, my daughter's savings stolen, all to pamper a woman who didn't even know I existed. But the worst part, there was a card, written in his handwriting. "To Marissa, you shine brighter than any jewel. I've never felt this alive. Mark." Marissa. Now I had a name, and a rage I didn't know I was capable of. That night, I didn't wait for Mark to fall asleep. I needed answers, not excuses, not half-truths. I needed to see if he'd lie to my face, or if there was anything left of the man I married. He walked in at 9:32 p.m., the smell of cologne I didn't wear clinging to his jacket. I sat in the living room, the lights off, just the glow from a lamp in the corner. He paused when he saw me. "Hey, you're up?" he said cautiously. I didn't say anything. I just slid the photos across the table, the ones I printed from his computer, him and Marissa, the resort, the bracelet. I watched his face. First confusion, then panic. He opened his mouth, closed it, then finally said, "It's not what you think." Those 5 words, the coward's anthem. "Not what I think," I whispered. "Because I think you stole from me. I think you sold my jewelry. I think you emptied our account and took your mistress on a 5-star vacation while I stayed home raising your child." Mark ran a hand through his hair. "I didn't mean for it to happen this way," he said. I laughed, sharp, bitter. "You mean you didn't mean for me to find out?" He sat down across from me, suddenly deflated. "It was just, I felt trapped. We were in a rut, and she made me feel alive again." "Alive," I echoed. "With my jewelry, with my daughter's future." There was a pause. He looked at me, pleading. "I'll fix it, Rach. I'll sell the car. I'll get the money back." "Will you give me back the necklace too?" I snapped. "The one you said matched my eyes?" His mouth stayed shut. "Or the bracelet Dad gave me? That you let her wear like it meant nothing?" Silence. "You didn't just cheat on me, Mark. You erased me. He didn't apologize, not really, just stood up, walked to the door and said, "I think I need some space." That was the last thing he ever said inside that house. After he left, I sat there for a long time, not crying, not yelling, just breathing, in, outside, like I was trying to remember I existed. The next morning, I took Emma to school. She looked at me from the back seat. "Mommy, are you okay?" she asked. "Your eyes are red." I forced a smile. "I just didn't sleep, baby." She reached forward, held my hand. "I like your eyes even when they're red," she said. I nearly broke. Back home, I opened the box where I kept the ultrasound photo. Emma, just a blur of a heartbeat, and beside it another memory. A letter Mark wrote me before our wedding, promising forever. It used to make me smile. Now it made me realize he never understood what forever meant. But I did. And I was going to fight for it. After dropping Emma at school, I drove straight to my lawyer's office. Not a friend, not a neighbor, a lawyer. Because I knew now this wasn't just heartbreak. It was theft, it was betrayal, and it was war. Her name was Clara. She was sharp, calm, and didn't flinch when I laid everything on the table. The receipts, the missing jewelry, the drained account, the mistress. She listened, then looked me in the eyes and said, "You're not crazy, you're not overreacting. You're a victim of financial abuse." Financial abuse, I'd never heard those words before, but hearing them out loud made me feel seen, validated. She walked me through next steps. Emergency financial injunction, separation of accounts, filing for legal separation. By noon, I'd signed papers. By 3 p.m., his name was removed from the utilities and bank cards I had left. That night, I finally told my parents. We sat at their kitchen table, the same one I'd eaten dinner at since I was 7. I thought they'd be shocked, maybe angry, maybe say, "I told you so." But instead, my dad leaned across the table, took my hand, and said, "You don't have to explain. You don't owe him your dignity." Then he stood up, walked to the hallway, and returned with the wooden jewelry box he'd gifted me years ago. Inside, tucked beneath the velvet lining, was a gold locket I thought I'd lost. He'd taken it from the house years ago to have it repaired. He'd forgotten to return it. Now it felt like a miracle. A piece of me returned. The next day, I received a call from Clara. "We traced the jewelry sales," she said. Turns out Mark had sold most of it to one upscale private buyer. Someone who didn't even ask questions because of how charming Mark had been. Charming. Just like when he talked our neighbors into investing in his failed app idea. Just like when he sweet-talked the PTA into naming him Dad of the Month. He used his charm like a weapon. But this time it wasn't working. A few days later, I received another message, this time from a friend. A screenshot. Mark and Marissa posted together at a new restaurant downtown. Caption: "Con building our forever, starting fresh, no more secrets. Engaged, 2 months after wrecking my life." But there was a comment underneath, from someone I didn't know. "Hope she knows you sold your wife's heirlooms to fund your Cancun trip, Mark." It had begun. Then the calls started. From his former co-workers, from old friends, even from Marissa's account, though I couldn't tell if it was her or a burner. "Why are you telling people lies about Mark?" one message read. But I didn't reply, because I didn't need to. The truth was louder than any lie he could spin. One afternoon, as I waited outside Emma's school, she came running toward me holding a picture. "Look, Mommy," she beamed. "It's us." It was a crayon drawing. Her, me, holding hands, smiling, no daddy. I looked at her. "Where's Dad?" She shrugged. "He doesn't come anymore, so I made us the stars." Tears blurred my vision because I realized something. He may have taken things from me, but he'd never take this. Our love, our bond, our future. It was a Wednesday when Mark called me. I hadn't heard from him in weeks. I thought he was gone for good, but I should have known. Men like him always circle back. The voice on the line was shaky, not his usual confident tone. "Rachel," he said, "please. Can we talk?" I paused, not because I was tempted, Tina, but because I wanted to remember the sound of desperation from the man who once thought he was untouchable. "What is there to talk about?" I asked, calm. There was a long pause. "She left me. Of course she did. She found out the truth, all of it. About the money, about the jewelry. She said I was disgusting." I said nothing. "I lost my job too. Word got around. Clients pulled out. I don't even have rent this month." Still I was silent. "Rach, I messed up, but we were good once, weren't we? Can't we go back?" It was almost funny. After taking everything, he still thought he could come back like nothing happened. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I simply said, "You didn't just sell jewelry, Mark. You sold trust. You sold love. And now you want a refund. But life doesn't work like that." And then I hung up. After that call, something shifted inside me. Not anger, not pain, just peace. Real peace. I focused on Emma, on building a life filled with warmth, not secrets. We started baking together. Sundays became cookie days. I got a small part-time job at a community clinic just to stay busy. Eventually, I sold the house, used the money to move closer to my parents. We didn't need luxury. We just needed light. A few months later, I opened a little Etsy shop. Handmade crafts, keepsake lockets, and personalized memory boxes. I named it Golden Promise, after the locket Dad gave back, after the promises I now kept to myself and Emma. It took time, but it grew. People connected with the honesty. The pain turned into art. Somehow, my broken story became the thing that healed others. One day, I got an email from a woman I didn't know. She wrote, "I saw your story shared online. My husband did the same. I thought I was crazy, until I realized I wasn't alone. Thank you for speaking the truth," I cried, because I knew now what Mark did to me would never define me. What I did after, that would. Years passed. Emma grew into a strong, kind, brilliant girl. Every night she'd kiss me on the cheek and say, "Thank you for being my safe place." And every time I'd whisper, "You're my forever." One afternoon, while going through old boxes, I found the wedding letter Mark once wrote me. I almost threw it away, but instead I burned it, watched it turn to ash in the fireplace, one flicker at a time. Because that's what betrayal becomes when you no longer carry it. Just ashes. And I had no more room for ashes in a life built on light.